Uh-huh. Are you really ready? Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you have been with us since the very beginning? How many with me right now for the first time? Okay. You are about to experience a young lady. We talk about rock and roll, but this is not only rock and roll. Do you remember when Petula Clark was on the cruise, right? I said to Petula, and she said, Dita, I'm scared to death. I've never done this. And I went out to the audience, and I said, this is royalty. What you're about to meet is rock and roll royalty, country royalty, and rockabilly royalty. I want to go get Brenda Lee. All right? Brenda May. Brenda May Totten. Oh, my. You all right?
Did you bring the cushion? I need another one. Oh, my fans.
I got you.
My fans are on.
These are your fans.
They sure are.
You know, this is the only lady that had 10 consecutive top 10 records in the early part of the 60s. You know all of the songs. All Alone Am I, I'm Sorry, Break It to Me Gentle, on and on and on. But you don't know that she listened to radio when she was 2 years old and used to whistle to the songs on radio, right? You got your mic?
I can't whistle anymore.
Where's your mic?
I don't know.
Oh, it's over here.
I'm sitting on it. Hello.
But radio played an important part of your life from the beginning, really, didn't it?
It did. I'm from the rural South. Do we have any Southerners on board? And when you say rural South, that means you spell poor with 3 O's. And and we couldn't afford. I was on TV before I saw TV.
Right.
So all we had was a radio. And my mom and dad, the only time they listened to it was when the Dodgers and the Yankees played. And then we got to listen to the Grand Ole Opry on the weekend.
Now, how old were you when you won the singing contest on radio?
Well, it actually wasn't radio. It was a slash. Oh, just take that thing away, my Lord. It was actually, you just watch me sweat. It'll be okay. It was actually, a beauty / talent show.
Right.
And I was 4.
5.
But thank you. We always lie, don't we? But I knew what money meant. So I wanted to win the talent, okay? No, I wanted to win the beauty because beauty got money, talent got a big old box of King Edward peppermint sticks that I won't eat until this day, I'll tell you that. But so I won talent, and my daddy was like an amateur baseball player. A pitcher, southpaw. And he used to take me to the games, and I'd sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game before every game. And then I was seen by a man that had a show called John Farmer and the TV Ranch Boys on WAGA out of Atlanta, Georgia. And that was sponsored by Borden's Ice Cream. So I didn't get paid, but on Saturday I could eat all the ice cream that I could possibly hold. So I started traveling around with a gospel group called the Master Workers Quartet. And, of course, all of you know that we Southerners learn our music usually in the church. And my uncle was a preacher. And so I, went to church every time the doors swung open. So, and just loved it. And then struggled for a minute.
How did you get to meet Red Foley?
Well, we were living in Augusta, Georgia. I was doing, no way. Are you from Augusta? Savannah, close. I'll give it to you. Good to see you. I was doing a radio show. You're going to know this name, with a little DJ, and I mean little because he was a midget like me. And he was. And his name was Peanuts Faircloth.
Yes, legendary name.
Yes.
Legendary name.
I told you.
That's because
And-
peanuts.
Yes. And of course, being a little girl, I didn't realize he was short because I was short.
Well, you look the same.
And so I was telling my daughter, who wrote my book, about Peanuts, and we were going around interviewing people, and we get to Augusta, and I'm so excited for her to meet Peanuts, and here he comes out like me, and we get going. She said, "Mom, you didn't tell me he was a midget." I said, but anyway, he would take me down to the famous Bell Auditorium anytime any artist came to town and beg him to let me sing. And Mr. Red Foley came to town. Any of you remember the great Peace in the Valley, Red Foley? And he had a show called the Ozark Jubilee.
Yeah.
And it was a network television show out of Springfield, Missouri. And so he said, "Would you like to come back and do my show?"
How old were you?
I was
10.
not 10, going on 10.
I know everything about you. Because I love you.
How old were you? 10. Thank you. No, so I went to Springfield, and my mom and I would get on a Greyhound bus after school on Fridays, ride all night long, half the day Saturday, get to Springfield. The show was live, do the show that night, get on a Greyhound bus, go all the way back to Augusta so I could be at school on Monday morning. Wow. And we did that for about 2 years. And then we moved to Springfield, Missouri. And I met, and from that show, and because of you all writing in, I was seen by a columnist called Jack O'Brien out
Big
of New York.
columnist.
Yeah.
Big guy.
And there was another little girl on the show, and he wrote in his column, "I didn't catch the name, but there was a little girl on Red Foley's show last night who sang, 'You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog.' And I would love to meet her." Well, from that column, I was invited to be on Perry Como and Steve Allen and Ed Sullivan. Don't we wish we had those shows back?
I mean, wow.
And I got my contract with Decca Records,
Right.
and then
You were 13 when you met the famous Mr.
Elvis
Bradley.
Presley.
Yeah.
And Bradley,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Owen
Elvis too.
You
I
know,
don't know.
it's funny because she had a producer with Decca. You remember Patsy Cline?
Loretta Lynn,
She had
Kitty Wells.
I mean,
We called ourselves his girls because he only had girls that he recorded.
he was the best. Listen, we're going to take a little break, I believe, and then we're going to come right on back, and we're going to talk about Ozark Jubilee, the Decca years, and this magnificent lady, Brenda Lee. Whoa! This is better than the Mike Douglas show.
Hey, Dick Cavett, all of them, you name it.
Now, we go 13, Red Foley, Decca Records.
Right.
How about a song called Jambalaya?
Jambalaya. When I was little, my mother would sing me to sleep at night. And I didn't know what she was singing. But as I got older, I knew I liked the songs. And I asked her, my mom was a pretty darn good singer. And I asked her, I said, "Mama, what are those songs you're singing?" And she said, "Those are Hank Williams songs."
Yes.
And of course, it was always, at night in the bedroom, and she'd sing me the song. So at the Bell Auditorium, I got the thrill of my life right before he passed away
Wow.
to meet Mr. Hank. And when they introduced him to me, my mama was standing here and she was so proud, and I was there. And they said, Brenda, this is Mr. Hank Williams. And I said, so you're the guy that's been in my bedroom every night?
But your version was more country, though.
Yeah, my version was a little bit more, country.
Because Joe Stafford on Columbia had
She had more of a pop
more
version.
pop.
Right.
This lady, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, country, won them
Rockabilly.
all. And does gospel, by the way.
I do.
Does gospel.
What Southerner doesn't sing gospel? Come on now.
The only lady that has been inducted in all of those awards, man. That's something.
Well, it's because of you all. Thank you. I tell everybody, so far, I'm the only woman to be in both the Rock and Roll and the Country Music Hall of Fame. I don't think Madonna's going to break that record.
No, she ain't gonna break the record. But also in the Rockabilly Hall of Fame.
I'm in the Rockabilly Hall of Fame and was just inducted into the Pop Music Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And the Iowa, remember the old surf ballroom?
Yes.
I'm getting...
Wow.
I'm coming there to play pretty soon. I mean, we'll play too, but I'm coming to sing. I'll be there.
But
at the surf. Yeah.
You know what amazes me, folks? If you listen to her songs, the lyrics are all adult lyrics. When you first heard it, you did not realize that this was a 13-year-old little girl singing about a broken heart, about love. When I heard you, I thought you were 23 years old. I thought you were 23. I figured I think you have more heartaches than anybody ever heard of.
I did, because my mama wouldn't let me do nothing. I was suffering.
Well, you sure expressed it in your music.
No, people always say, how did you sing those lyrics at that age?
Yes.
And, I don't really know. I think a great song's a great song, and
it was your soul, man. I'm
well,
telling you, I fell in love.
I'd like to say that, but I mean, I seriously, I'd never had a date. I wanted to, but I'd never had a date. In fact, I had my first date with my husband of 54 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Brenda.
And guess who introduced us?
Jackie Wilson.
Bobby Wilson's daddy, Jackie Wilson.
Well, I'm going to tell you, when I heard you sing All Alone, let me hear that. Good. All alone am I.
All alone am I, ever since you goodbye.
Oh, without of my heart. Whoa. I was going to call you up when I heard that song and try and make a date with you.
Well, what happened?
But I found out you were 13 years old. But let me tell you about this lady, Elvis Presley, you met. She met the Queen of England.
Yeah, I sang for the Queen twice. I did.
Wow.
And that was quite something.
How old were you then?
The first time, I'll preface this. I had a bigger career in Europe than I had in the States at that before that. So Charles was a big fan, and he wanted me to come and do the Queen's performance, which they used to do every year.
But how did you get a visa?
I don't know.
At an early age? No, but really, you had to go traveling Europe.
You can't get one if you're little.
Well, you got one.
I mean, seriously, you can't.
No, I mean, for you to perform for a promoter, you were a kid.
Yeah, but I had my mother and my manager. Yeah, I had all that good stuff. And it was wonderful. And Lena Horne was on the show, Tommy Cooper, Cilla Black, who was she was like the Connie Francis of England. Millicent Martin, great actress, Kathy Kirby. Anyway, our entrance was to be first. I had to learn how to curtsy, and that was not fun. And I mean, my legs are too short to curtsy, and I had to learn how to curtsy, and I finally got that down. And then they had this rotating like thing that a big Rolls Royce sat on. And so when they did our each introduction, the rolls would go around, and they'd open the door. Miss Horn would get out, and she would curtsy, sing her song to the Queen, and get back in. And next one come around, same thing. Here I come. Well, somebody rolled up the window, and I couldn't get out. And I kept saying to the driver, open the door. He didn't.
Well, he was English.
So, yeah, he's English. So finally I found that, whatever, their cars are different. And I rolled the window down. I hiked up my beautiful gown, and I climbed out that window.
Yo!
And I walked down there, and I went.
Yeah. Do you know that this? You know the Beatles opened up for her. Was it in Germany?
England and Germany.
Yeah, the Beatles opened up for Brenda Lee. You didn't know that, did you? I tell you.
They were. In fact, I brought a picture back of them in 1960.
One.
Yes, right before I want to hold your hand. Thank you.
61.
Really, stalkers, right? And I brought their picture back, Jerry, honest to goodness. And I brought a little demo tape that John had given me. And I played it for them. And I call them the suits because they all walk in line with their suits on, and they all sit down at the same time. And you know, and I'm waiting, and they said, this look will never happen, nor will this sound. And about 6 months later, I Want to Hold Your Hand came out and changed the tapestry that we knew as our music.
We're going to talk about how that changed and how you still were able to hit record after record during the English invasion. We'll be right back, folks, right? We are back with royalty, and I truly mean that sincerely, because there will never be another Brenda Lee in this industry ever, ladies and gentlemen. Ever, ever, ever. We talked about how the British invasion really changed American radio because they forgot the American artist. But they did not forget Brenda Lee, the Beach Boys, or the Four Seasons, or the Motown sound.
Or Fats Domino.
Right.
Or Ray Charles.
Or Ray Charles. That was rhythm and blues going. But what happened, which is interesting, you recorded the Christmas song in July.
I did.
Okay. Bradley, right? Tell me the name of the song.
I was 12.
Yeah, go ahead.
I went in the studio, and I think we all knew it was special. I think you do. You know, when you hear something, you either like it or you don't like it. And we had the most magnificent players, the A-team.
Boots Randolph.
Boots Randolph, Floyd Kramer, Grady Martin, you know, Harold Bradley, Bobby Moore, Buddy Herman, Hank Garland, who Boots and Hank are playing a different riff right on the front of Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree.
That's the one.
So that was given to me when I was 12 by the writer, who also wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Holly Jolly Christmas. And the great thing about this writer, Johnny Marks, he became my lifelong friend, and he was about 25 years older than me. And he would call me every day, and he'd say, you know, Brenda, there's just not a lot of us old ones left, are they?
He didn't know you were 13.
Yeah. And the great thing about him was all of those Christmas songs that he wrote He always wanted to write just a song.
Right.
And he couldn't. And guess what? He was Jewish. He didn't even believe in Christmas.
Well, he thought it was Hanukkah. He thought it was Hanukkah.
But you know what he said? He was laying on some beach on the shore somewhere out of New York, and he was on a hammock, and there were pine trees all around, and he wrote the first verse of Rockin'. He took a little nap. He woke up and wrote the rest of
But
it.
to do it in July when Christmas...
know.
I mean, the song was recorded in July. Christmas is in December.
So that tells you he was not only Jewish, he was...
Oh, I see. What is
No, he was the greatest guy in the world, and he just was so precious. And we talked every day, and still talk to his
So
boys.
today,
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. What do you say to young people with the career that you've had, the young people that want to get into this industry today? I mean, you started as a kid. I mean, what do you say to a young person that says, I want to be a Brenda Lee?
Well, first I tell them, get your education, go to school. You can do
Right.
both. I did. Don't give up your, and as Judy Garland told me, my hero told me, don't give up your childhood for anybody.
Yeah.
So I had a great mother who loved me as a person and not as a product. And that's the difference.
Yeah. The passion that you have is very evident, not only in your song, but when you meet this young lady. You really are a very special lady. God gave you a special talent. And through all of the years, she met Sinatra, she met Elvis. What did you feel when you met Elvis at that time, when you first met Elvis Presley? Because he was a big star. Also.
Well, Elvis and I, we did our first appearance on the Grand Ole Opry, December the 13th, 1957.
Right.
He was just getting ready to go in the military, and I had just turned
14?
13. You're so...
Well,
And and he came in, and by the way, we're the first ones that ever used drums on the Opry.
really?
And all they let us use was a little snare drum.
Uh-huh.
And he did That's All Right, Mama,
Yeah.
and Blue Moon of Kentucky. And they told him to keep his day job. And he's been working every day since.
Yeah. Did you ever realize, though, that back as a kid that you would be where you are today and make so many people happy? Think about that now.
You know, I knew I'd be singing.
That was your love.
I never knew it would be to this extent and that I would be accepted, and I thank you so much. But, you know, I would be singing somewhere because I think my mother always told me, and I'm sure she heard it from somebody, because my mom worked 18 hours a day in a cotton mill after my dad died to support us. And she told me, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I never have.
You know, it's very obvious that you still believe in that spirit and that God-given gift that has kept you all of these years. But more important, and you people may not realize this is a young lady that came from nowhere, okay? I mean, her mom worked, dad worked.
My dad died when I was 7. My dad was a carpenter, and he was on a work-related death. And then my mom I had 3 siblings, and an older sister and a younger sister and brother. So then my mom just had to do whatever it was she could do. And then whatever I could do singing-wise, I did.
So you actually sang to support a family.
Yes.
Sang. And radio really was a very big part of your life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you people don't realize how important radio was back then. You didn't have money for TVs back then. You had the little radio thing. And I'm not kidding you. She would listen to music at the age of 2 and whistle to the song that you heard. I mean, so that is a gift.
It is.
And that gift has kept you going all of these years, you see.
It has. And like I said, I would be singing somewhere. That's what makes my husband mad. You know, I'd be singing somewhere. Says, Brenda's us enough. Come on.
Let me ask you this, out of all of the songs, and you people, and when you see the show, you literally, everybody knows the songs. What one song do you feel is so much you, lyric-wise?
I always say the one that brought me to the dance.
I'm sorry?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You sound like you were 30 years old when you did that
well.
song. I'm telling you.
That one, when we took it to the record company, they said, no, we're not going to okay her recording that. She's too young, and nobody will believe that a young girl could sing of unrequited love like that and make it believable. And I thought, you're damn right. Sure can. But anyway, we went back the next year when I was going on 15.
Right.
Took it back again. And they said that again. So on a session, Owen said, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And we did. We had no arrangement. Floyd Kramer would say, okay, I'm going to do this here.
I see it.
And the Anita Kerrs were the background singers, and Boots, and this one and that one, and I credit Owen and those musicians and those singers. They occupy a part of me, just like you all do.
Ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to have to leave you now.
I'm not going.
Well, I'm staying, but that TV crew's got to leave us. I'm running. We're staying. They're running someplace else. But
I bet you don't have as much fun as we are.
But let me say this: there are not enough words for any of you to express the love that you have for this young lady. So, ladies and gentlemen, Brenda Lee.